Watch Who?
Hello, and welcome to Watch Who, a Doctor Who podcast. I'm Mark.
I'm Sarah.
And I'm a Doctor Who fan.
And I'm new to watching Who.
Yep, you're watching these for the very first time.
Very first time.
Yep, and we've gone back to the Madonna intro by popular demand.
Yeah.
And we're in season 4, a new Doctor this episode.
Yeah.
A milestone episode.
Yes, it was, in many ways.
In many ways. So, before we get into the power of the Daleks, let's just talk about, let's just say how we've...
Let's talk about our week.
Okay, let's just talk about the week, because... So, where are we? Right. Well, Thursday. So, Thursday, we plan to watch Power of the Daleks. So, we're watching the DVD special edition.
Yeah.
But then... I did an emergency sign up to Britbox because I wasn't sure if I was coming to yours or you were coming to mine. There was a bit of confusion in the daytime.
Yeah.
But we sorted that out. You came over. We watched episodes 1 to 4.
Mm-hmm.
And we had pizza.
Yeah. Our new favourite pizza.
Our new favourite pizza, which I don't think... We haven't talked about food for a while.
No.
So it's...
Well, I sort of suggested it and now you were like, that sounds amazing. Because I got told about it and it's now our new favourite thing. Which I'm sure we have talked about this, but if we've not, mine and Mark's new favourite pizza is pepperoni and pineapple.
Pepperoni and pineapple. We actually had that watching Adventure in Space and Time as well.
Yeah, maybe we have talked about this.
Maybe we did. I don't know. I don't think we talked about the exact pizza.
It's the controversy of it, because pineapple and pizza is controversial anyway, but it's perfect because it's like the spice of the pepperoni with the sweet of the pineapple. It's much better than ham and pineapple. It's so much better than ham and pineapple. It's pepperoni and pineapple.
It's the go-to pizza now.
If there is a competition for, the next pizza out there, what should we make as a new pizza? Pepperoni and pineapple. It even has a good ring to it.
Yeah, the 2 Ps, pizza, pepperoni.
The 2 Ps.
No, actually, it's the 4 Ps, pizza, pepperoni, pineapple, and Power of the Daleks.
Oh, I thought you were going to say in piss.
Well, okay, let's get on to that then. So anyway, we watched 1 to 4, and actually this is the first 6 episode that we've done for a while, so we usually try and break it up a little bit. 6 in a sitting is sometimes a little bit of a stretch for us to get through.
Well, we've realised that we haven't had 6 in so long.
Well, I can't think of the last 6 episodes we did. The Chase, I think. I mean, we had Daleks Master Plan, which was 12.
But we did that
But
in
the
4.
last time we did 6, and with Chase we did 4 and 2. We usually do 4 and 2.
Yeah.
So we got to the end of episode 4 after our pizza, and it was all going well. And we're like, right, we'll watch the next 2 the next day. Great. Yeah. And then you went to leave to get your coat. And then you picked up your coat and walked around my living room with your coat. And then you were just about to put it on and you were like, why is it all wet? And this is very unusual. So my cat had pissed all over your coat.
And but not a little bit.
But a lot. So there was just puddles of it all over the place dripping off your coat.
It was everywhere.
And
you were clearing it up the next day.
I was so shocked. I was so embarrassed. That's never happened before. It was so shameful. There was so much piss all over your coat.
There was a lot of it. He had a very full bladder, bless him.
I don't know what happened.
It was so weird. And we've talked about, it's fine. I kept saying to you, leave it. It's fine. I'm sure at some point...
I was wiping it, cleaning it. I was like, what are we going to do? The amount of times you've been over and my cat has, sat on your coat.
Fallen asleep on my coat.
All the stuff. That's never happened before in this whole time.
Every single time I bring a coat, anything, he will sleep and go on it. Every time, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So, it wouldn't be weird that he would go on it.
And it must have just happened, because he was wandering around when we were watching the episodes... And you must have disappeared towards episode 4 and then just decided to piss on your coat. I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
So anyway.
But we've missed out prize line. So we talked about it the next day, didn't we? Because...
Right, so then you came around the next day and we were going to do the next 2 episodes.
Yeah.
And record.
And I said, maybe it's because I've got Mabel, I've got my cat now, maybe you can smell that. And maybe. And I was like, but you've been to mine and Mabel's Like, you've had Mabel all over
I've
you.
come back with cat on me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And Mark went, well, he's never said, I can't even say it. Mark went, but he's never said anything. I went, Mark,
No, you know what I mean.
if Alfie ever says anything to you, please let me know.
That he's never, acted differently, that I've got a different cat, on me.
He's never said anything.
Yeah, he's never said anything. So,
if that ever happens, Mark, if Alfie ever says to you, excuse me, Mark, I've got a complaint to raise. Please let me know.
So then...
Let us all know.
Right, so then you went to get something to eat before we watched episode 5 and 6 of Power of the Daleks.
Yeah.
So what did you have? Are you okay to talk about this?
Yeah, I'm good now.
Right,
I'm good.
Fine. Okay, so we went just round the corner. We better not say where you went.
Yeah, came around to watch episodes 5 and 6.
Yeah, I'd already had some food.
Yeah.
This is so detailed, this story, everybody.
I had something to eat. And then we came back, watched episode 5 and 6. We came down here to start recording.
Yeah, we came down and we got into about 10 minutes of recording. And then I said something like, so what do you think about the new Doctor then? And then you just went, I feel really sick. I don't think I can do this. I feel really, really sick. And then we had to abandon recording.
Yeah.
You had to go home.
I threw up.
And threw up.
Yeah.
So this is take 2 of recording the next day, everyone.
It's been so eventful.
But
And
it's not
also,
to do with Patrick Troughton.
No. And also, that Friday when I came over was so cold, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was so cold, and my coat still smelled cat piss.
So you can
I couldn't wear my really nice warm coat, which is having its second wash today.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
It's fine. Mark, I'm going to have this problem, I'm sure, in the future with my cat.
If it doesn't come out this time, get it properly professionally done and send me the bill. Okay? Just get it properly done.
I think this time's a good one. I've doused it in white wine vinegar.
So, as I said, we watched Power of the Daleks, a special edition animation. Unusual that it's, a Doctor in the middle of a season. Like, we've only just started season 4.
Yeah.
And this one, it's a shame it's all missing.
Yeah.
Because it's such an iconic moment. Same with the 10th Planet episode 4, really, isn't it?
And it's the first full animated one we've had.
Yes, because we've only done Reign of Terror and 10th Planet.
And they were just one episode.
And they were like an episode here and there. So this is a full story. So another experience for you. And this one is actually, as I say, the special edition that came out this year. So it had already come out animated and they redid a few bits. It's had regeneration. It's had the animation treatment twice. I mean, they're very similar. There was just a few tweaks. You know how we were saying about the movement is a little bit stiff and a bit funny?
Yeah.
I think the first version was even worse.
Okay.
They've improved.
Yeah.
I didn't really know this story. Well, I do know this story because it's the first Second Doctor episode. Yeah. When I was younger, I had the cassette. I got the cassette from the library, or like 93 or something.
Aww.
And back then, the soundtracks weren't as cleaned up, I don't think.
Yeah.
It was all very difficult to sort of follow what was happening because you've got a lot of different characters that sound the same quite a bit. I wasn't really interested in it. I was only interested in those first few scenes with the new Doctor, and then when it went to the Connolly and all the people talking and the Daleks started shouting, it didn't really carry my interest. And then I think I got the MP3 CD a few later, with the recon on in early 2000s probably. Never really followed it all the way through. And even when the animation, it's great that this story was fully animated. Never really got all the way through it though. Again, I just watched those first TARDIS scenes. Okay, there's the new Doctor. And then as it went on, I just sort of lost interest. So I've really enjoyed it this time, watching it through. Because I've actually followed it all the way through. That's what I'm finding with a lot of these ones that we've been doing recently. So shall we try and go through in order? I think we should start off with those early scenes with the new Doctor.
Yes.
With Ben and Polly. And their reaction.
Animation.
Ben looks a bit grumpy, but he is grumpy in this.
No, you don't look. He's got I don't know. It just doesn't look like him. Maybe I've just put Ben on some pedestal of some sort in my mind because of that one episode, and since then he's never really lived up to it the same.
I know. I'm quite surprised, but he is very suspicious in this. So initially, Ben is very doesn't trust the Doctor, and
No.
Polly's doesn't trust at the beginning, but slowly comes around a bit more, doesn't she?
They're very much like when they first appear in the very first episode, their first full one, like from the TARDIS, and she's like, "Oh, maybe it is this," and he's like,
Yeah.
"No, it's exactly the same." She's like, "Oh, maybe it is the Doctor," and he's like, "No."
It is the Doctor, I know it is. I think.
It's not only his face that's changed, it doesn't even act like him.
Can we just go off on a little side topic? Because I wanted to say, which companions do you think would cope best with this situation that we've had so far? I think Ben and Polly do a good job, but they don't know they haven't known the Doctor for very long at this point. See, imagine if Stephen, right? If Stephen was there, I think he would react a little bit like Ben, but I think as he's known the Doctor longer, I think he would cope if he'd stayed on a little bit longer. Because actually, well, I suppose with Stephen and Ben, you had argumentative space pilot. Now you've just got argumentative seaman. They very. I can see Stephen being a bit like that, and Dodo being very chilled about it.
I think it's interesting though, because we can't. The beauty of Ben and Polly being so new is they don't really have any attachment to the old Doctor in the same way that the other characters did.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
So, like, they've met this person who they're more skeptical as to the change, as in, like, hang on, you went in as one person and now you're something different. Whereas I think any of the other characters, it would have been more like but what have you done with this person that we've known for so long, that we've travelled with for so long?
Yeah, and it doesn't help that the Doctor... It always confuses me because the Doctor refers to the Doctor in this third person thing, which really, I don't know why he does that, and it really annoys me that he does that. It's not like he says, he does say I've been renewed in a way.
Yeah.
I said that in a really weird way, sorry.
Stick with it. It's in there now.
I don't know why.
Like he's been to the spa.
Yeah, like he's been to the spa. But he doesn't really explain it to them. He's purposefully being a bit sneaky about it.
Yeah.
To the frustration of Ben and Polly.
And the viewer, i.e.
And
me.
the viewer as well. You'd think that because Ben and Polly are the viewer, you would think that they would want to try and explain that as much as possible to put the viewer at ease. But he's, even into episode 2, maybe 3, he's still saying the Doctor rather than himself.
And he's already established that the process is complete.
What he says about the renewal, like the butterfly and the chrysalis and stuff. And then and Ben's trying to question him, saying, well, if you are the Doctor, you'd know this, you'd know this. They don't have any choice but to go along with it.
It's interesting, isn't it?
It's not really the most... I don't know how much they thought it through when they were doing it. Did the writers really know, where this was going to go? I suppose they didn't, but I don't think it's helpful for the viewer.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think...
What do you think of this new Doctor to begin with? What were you thinking? I mean, you don't know you've never seen any... I mean, you don't even know who Patrick Troughton was.
No, I didn't know.
You really were coming into this. And I know the animation... It's difficult to know, to see those facial expressions and the movements. But what were you getting from the character in the TARDIS at the beginning?
To begin, so initially it was as I expected, because he's just come round, like he's adjusting. But that whole first episode, he's just so like cold, doesn't say anything, like to anyone or anything. At least the other Doctor explained. That almost sort of led into this whole grandfather figure of explaining. This one is kind of like just, you're on my ride.
Yeah, it's straight. I mean, the only person that would go along with it is probably Katerina.
I thought she was long
I
gone.
had to mention that, I'm sorry. But imagine, she'd be like, yeah, okay.
No, she wouldn't.
Doctor.
She would not. No, she would not. No one would. But it's just going back to your question, I think Vicky would handle it quite well.
I suppose it depends what questions, because Ben and Polly stand there quite a lot. And I know, again, the animation, there's a lot of just static still, and there's probably a lot of movement, and they're looking at each other, questioning and everything. But it comes across that they're just standing there, like, what do we do? They could have, asked a few more questions, and Vicky would have said, "Oh, is this part of your?" They don't.
But they don't
like
know.
you said, they don't know him well enough to be able to ask those questions.
Yeah.
Susan would know all about it. Susan would be like, "Don't worry, it's fine," or she'd scream. It's very confusing, I think.
Yeah. I don't think Dodo would be great. I think Dodo would be too chill.
I said Dodo would be, because she was chill about entering the TARDIS in the first place.
Yeah, I think she'd be too
you
chill.
Just changed into someone else. That's cool.
Yeah. But I think it would just be that, which is kind of what you've got with Polly.
Yeah, I suppose so. Polly does. She says she feels it. She knows it.
Yeah.
She's got that intuition about it. And that's sort of comforting to the audience. Because you don't know. This could be... We've had in the Celestial Toymaker, the Doctor's invisible and he's been a hand or something. And is this, if you're a viewer watching it, because there would have been a bit of publicity, but not that much.
Yeah.
You might be thinking, oh, well, William Hartnell's on holiday.
Yeah.
The Toymaker's taking him over or something, and we're going to get him at the end of the story,
you
know?
think a whole host of things. It's just very strangely... I actually by the end of it, I quite liked him.
Yes. Yeah.
But I think in terms of like... And I liked a little bit the setup of like him coming into this character and him being this new character. But what I didn't like was him not explaining to them that he is him.
That's it. That's exactly the same for me, yeah.
You know, it's little things like this that make it difficult to believe that you're the Doctor. The other one. I mean the proper one. Oh, nuts, you know what I mean.
Nuts? Yes, certainly. Here we are.
Because why does he say the Doctor used to do this and everything?
But that I'm okay with, because that's almost like because he goes through, he's finding all that previous stuff.
He's got the thing from the
Also,
Crusades. He says Saladin's...
What does annoy me is a classic Doctor Who thing that I'm starting to realise is that the Doctor just knows everything before it's even begun. So he picked up, didn't he, the key for the Dalek machine.
I didn't realise that's what it was.
Yeah.
Because he says extermination, and it's not really clear. I don't know if there's a telesnap of it. Maybe they're not really sure what he's... I mean, it's in the script, but I wonder how that was... Yeah, how that would have been done.
So, but how does he, like... Do you know what I mean? Like,
well, I think, obviously, they've put the Daleks in because viewers know the Daleks, and it's very safe first story for a new Doctor to have. That's... Of course they're going to do that. There was actually that bit where he looks in the mirror and he sees he sees the first Doctor. Yeah, but he just seems to know, doesn't he? Yeah, he knows everything straight away.
Yeah, there's no like...
But actually, thinking about that, I'd rather have that than this confused Doctor that doesn't know everything. And because you were thinking they're going to have a whole episode of the explaining, I suppose it wasn't as bad, actually, as Stephen in the Time Meddler or... You know, Belle and Polly not believing in the smugglers. Last time you said, we're going to have to go through a whole episode of this. I suppose...
Well, we kind of did.
Well, we sort of did, but then they
did.
But they've also got to get on with the adventure. It's a 6-episode Dalek story they've got to get through at the same time.
We did have that because he didn't explain. This is one of those incidents where, actually, he needed to explain.
Yeah.
And he didn't. Whereas all the other ones...
You had a very symbolic... The ring fell off.
Yeah.
It was too big.
Yeah.
So that ring had a lot of action throughout those stories, didn't it? Well, it did.
It did, yeah.
But then we have the Doctor. He's got his hat. He's got his recorder.
Yeah. Pan flute, whatever it is. Yeah.
This little flute thing. And then off they go straight into the story. And Ben and Polly don't really have a chance to ask any more questions because Polly's gassed out. And then the Doctor... Then this whole murder mystery plot comes in, which I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
So he immediately takes over the role of the Examiner. And everyone's calling him the Examiner rather than the Doctor. And because I suppose that gets, when they meet everyone in the colony, he doesn't have to say then, I'm the Doctor and these are my companions, Ben and Polly. He can be like, we're from Earth, I'm the Examiner and everything. And that sort of prolongs the mystery for the audience. Is this the Doctor or not?
Yeah, yeah.
So as we go into the rest of the story, what are you thinking? What are you...
It's an interesting one, actually. For me, it shows that you didn't need Ben and Polly.
Why not?
I don't know what they brought.
Well, they're the only ones that can talk to the Doctor, really, and they have a lot of those scenes together where they're away apart and they're talking about the plot.
I think I'm so
used do you think it's this person's the murderer or this person? Let's see. And they sort of regroup every now and then throughout the story, and I like that.
Yes, but he doesn't... They're regrouping and mainly going to him. What's going on?
I know.
And he's not saying anything.
But then that enforces that the Doctor's the lead character, and actually... very much the Doctor is now the centre. I mean, William Hartnell would not have done all of those lines, all of those scenes.
No. Oh, no, completely.
All of that. It would have been left up to Ben and Polly.
I'm not saying that's a bad thing.
And now we've got a more able Doctor.
I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but I'm saying it's interesting now that we've sort of flipped it and we're like, well, these characters, these side characters that were absolutely crucial before. And they were. Like, some of the stories that you could not have got through without the companions, they're almost not needed in this. I mean, what? Polly went missing, and the only person that really cared was Ben.
Well, yeah.
Literally, there is a whole storyline. But there is a whole storyline there where the Doctor... I mean, it all just ends up working itself out. He doesn't go and try and find the companion. He doesn't try and do anything for them. They just end up working. Whereas I really like the fact that it is back to being about the Doctor and the story and him being the lead of the story.
Yeah, and he does quite a bit, and he gets involved.
Yeah.
He's the only one that knows about the Daleks, because Ben and Polly haven't met the Daleks before.
Yeah, completely.
So, just going back, into episode 2... we meet all these different people in the colony. I was really pleased that they all had their name badges on. I don't know if that's just for the animation or in the actual thing, but that really helped to remember who everyone was.
Yeah.
A good bunch of supporting characters. They get into the space clothes. Well, Ben and Polly get into their space clothes. Polly's got some awful shorts on.
Oh, yeah. The guy that plays the scientist...
So
Lesterson. I am... and I kept saying it to you throughout, I'm so grateful, so grateful that this is being watched in animation and not on screen. I think I would be so annoyed with him on screen. Just listening to it annoyed me.
Well, he's great as the sort of mad scientist, isn't
completely.
He? And it escalates throughout, and you see it go up and up and up throughout.
I just don't want to watch it, like, the acting of it. It was quite nice watching it as an animation and the drama of it in that style, rather than what I'm sure would be hammed up BBC children's.
I don't know. I think it might be... No, I think he played it really well. I think he got it just right. You needed that sort of mania, I think.
Yeah, but... I don't think there was enough of us to surround that. Okay. So, like, yes, but there's no, like, music to support that. There's nothing, like, the other people are... There's not enough other suspense to support that mania. So whenever he was talking, he was like... like this, whatever. And I was just like... And everyone else is just, like, a bit more serious. And then he's like... I don't know, I can't think of a line he said now at all.
Well, when he sees the Daleks being the Dalek factory and stuff, and he's like...
making themselves... duplicating.
What are you talking about?
I'm
shocked.
So glad that, like...
No, I'd love to see this. I think this is definitely a fan favourite.
Oh, I can imagine.
And on the list for people to want to...
I can imagine.
And, you know, there's rumours that there's episodes of this exists and someone's got this in their basement. I don't know. I'm not going to get angry this time.
Okay.
I'm playing it cool. I'm playing it cool this time.
Play it cool.
But Dalek Story...
I enjoyed it.
You enjoyed it because it was only sort of 4 to 5 onwards that we got the group of Daleks chanting and everything.
Yeah.
The sneaky Daleks at the beginning.
Yeah. Look.
Was really enjoyable.
Yeah. I enjoyed Daleks doing something different. Normally,
and that's what we said that they needed. Yeah.
They just needed to do something different. Normally, it's just they exist and they're like, we just want to exterminate humans, and all they're doing is the annoying voices talking to each other about that. And then that is their one thing. This, you had that suspense as well, because also we know that they're bad.
We're the only ones that know. The Doctor and audience are the only ones that know.
Yeah.
That they're up to something. Yeah, I really like that.
And it was It was really well done, even in animation. I said to you as well, I really enjoyed watching it in black and white animation.
Yes, because so when I went onto Britbox, it's only available in colour, and that's why I was like, oh no, we can't do it in Britbox. Well, I suppose you just turn your colour on your TV down. But, but no, I don't think I could do this in colour. I'd never do the animations in colour because they are available. It just doesn't work for me.
There's something about the fact that these were filmed in black and white, and I'm so used to us watching them in black and white and like the style of the show. And it feels quite nice that they're animated in black and white in the way that we would see it.
Oh, yes. Yeah, there's got to be, I think.
So,
I always get shocked because there's always, throughout in the 60s, all the black and white ones, there's always sort of offset photos or publicity photos in colour.
Yeah.
And I'm always like, hang on a second, it just doesn't look right, or something that you think is a different colour, and then you see the actual colour of it, like a mechanoid. Now I'm finally
how
thinking
colour is a
of them.
mechanoid again? I always think they're gold. Are they gold?
Silver.
Yeah, I always think they're gold.
I always think they're gold.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's stuff like that, or I think Polly's outfit is pink or red, or there's a picture of her in someone in red. I think maybe Polly's outfit is in this. There's colour pictures.
Yeah.
It's really strange to see that.
In this, for me, they're like in a white.
Or the Daleks.
No, their outfits. They're like white outfits. The
space clothes.
Yeah.
I think they're sort of beigey.
Yeah, that sort of thing. And then the other ones are maybe like a dark maroon.
Oh.
I don't know why.
I'll look up. There are quite a lot of colour photos.
I don't know why I think that, but in my head, that's what it is.
Yeah, it's strange.
I quite like that though as well. That element of how you see something maybe being, and the colours maybe being this, and
maybe a bit different. Yeah. Because like the original TARDIS console is green. Is that green like it was in Adventure in Space and Time?
Yeah.
But they made it green because it looked more white in black and white. When people want to go back and recolour the 60s ones, paint it all in, but I just don't think it would look it just wouldn't look right watching them in colour.
No.
It wasn't designed in that way.
Well, it wouldn't. I don't know. Some of it I think would be nice. I'd love to see...
Aztecs? Oh. Keys and Marinus?
I'd love to see Keys and Marinus.
Yeah.
I'd love to see Keys and Marinus in colour.
I think though, if we see it in colour, it will highlight, or the backdrops would be highlighted. Because in black and white, say like in this, you've got the sets, and through the windows, you've got the alien landscape.
Yeah.
I think if you colorised it and made it look more, you would just see that it was a photograph rather than in black and white. The graininess sort of fades into the background and makes it look more...
You've got because they go to so many different places. Like the first place they're in that, like really, they're in those exotic costumes, and then it's all grungy and disgusting. Like
I can't believe we're still talking about Keys and Marinus now. We shouldn't go into too much detail.
But I'd love to see that. Mark, it's not a new season if we don't talk about Keys and Marinus.
I know. Anyway, back to Power of the Daleks. So the Doctor's character throughout... I
want to watch Keys and Marinus now.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe you just said that.
I do, I love it. Only that.
Well, you don't know what's coming up. For all you know, there's a Keys and Marinus 2. No, there's not.
There's not. I know there's not, because those things don't come back, you told me. Whatever they were.
Oh, the Vord. No more Vord. The Doctor's character throughout this, so you liked him by the end?
Yes.
What were your... Tell me your journey.
Tell me your journey. I don't know. Like, just to begin with, I wasn't really sure. I found him really annoying and closed. You were writing some things down as I said them.
He's got a lot more humour, and you said he was untrustworthy.
There we go. That's what I said. I just didn't find... Yeah, I found him really untrustworthy. By the end, I liked him. I liked that he was a little bit eccentric.
Like with the fruit and stuff.
Yeah, and with the, like, how he worked things out. That is how I sort of see the Doctor being. He's very smart.
So he's working out how to get out the prison cell with the sound of the water and everything. Yeah. Stuff like that.
Yeah, I enjoy that. Which I think other Doctor would have done as well. This isn't like...
No, but he seemed to... There just seemed to be so much he did of those things in just one story.
But if I think of season 1 Doctor...
Yeah.
Season 1 Doctor used like the light of the sun against something else and his ring to get out of... Do you remember?
Yeah.
Like the most ridiculous thing.
Yeah.
So like this isn't so out of character. It's just we've got so stale with the other Doctor.
It just went so far downhill with the first Doctor.
Yeah.
He didn't really have time to do that because all he could do was come in and
Do his line
before he went on holiday. But it seems like this Doctor's, he's arguing with the Daleks. He's in there with the characters. He's got time with Ben and Polly, but he's also got time on his own.
Yeah.
And he's doing this science stuff.
Yeah.
He just did a lot of stuff. And I think it's going to take a bit of getting used to, a Doctor that's actually there.
Yeah, absolutely. The flute's annoying, but I like it.
Yeah, I see. That annoyed me when Ben's asking him a question and he's just going...
Yeah.
And Ben's really frustrated and I'm really frustrated because I'm just like, come on.
Yeah.
Why do that? That was sort of a little bit of a... Not a dick move, but like, just come on.
But it is. It is,
isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. And so they're the sort of things where I was like, But
he did that right in the last scene as well. They were like, oh, do you think the Daleks will come back or something? And he's like, and then walks off.
Yeah.
In the last scene, he just goes back to do that. And it's like, oh, just come on, get a grip.
What you want is someone who, for me, he's supposed to be this eccentric person, but he's also like the supporter. He kind of, you look to him for the answer.
Yeah.
And he might not be able to give you the answer you want, but he gives you an answer. And that isn't an answer. Like, he's done it before in some... Like, I'm trying to think of an example, but he's talked about, like, other planets. What's going to happen to this planet now? What's going to happen here? And he'll say, like... And it might not be something they want to hear, but he does tell them what it is. Like, he tells them what it's like.
Yeah. Okay.
So even then, he could have been like, we never leave the Daleks or something. I don't think we'll ever... not see the Daleks. He said that before, the other Doctor, like, we will see them again.
Yeah, well, you're always going to see them again, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, like I say, it's just a dicky thing to do, because we know that as an audience,
yeah,
Ben and Polly don't know that.
I know. So, any particular moments with Ben and Polly? I
feel like Ben and the Doctor don't really click. In fact, to be honest, I don't think he clicks with those companions.
Well, I think that it's the first one, isn't it? They've got to get used to it.
Yeah.
Well, Ben's just frustrated a lot of the time. But then they have to get on with the story. Polly does... I've written Polly housework. She goes to tidy up a bit later on.
Yeah. And
so she does the least.
Well,
he's not in the laboratory. Lessons by himself.
He must have gone another way. Can I leave it to you? I'm going to go back to the restroom. But somebody's got to clear it up.
Okay.
Ben and Polly both get an episode off. They are on holiday. You don't really miss them.
No,
but there's a lot of characters in this as well, though.
Yeah, but that's fine. Do you know what? It's quite nice that you don't miss them, because we've had stories where, gosh, we couldn't have not had Ian in the story, for example.
Yeah, there was no Ian moments here for Ben or anything like that. No. So there wasn't that kind of story. But
also, I guess it wasn't meant to be. It was supposed to be the Doctor's story, because this is the first time we're meeting him. God, wouldn't it be a shit first story if
they wrote him out for half of it?
Yeah, either they wrote him out or like they got the companions to do a lot of the work. The whole point is, I think
we've got a good balance actually. They do enough, and he's the lead, just a little bit above. And then they get their moments as well. And then you've got plenty of time for the monster and the guest characters as well. Yeah. I mean, what were your favourite characters? I mean, Lesterson was great and very memorable.
He was memorable. I don't think he was great. He was just annoying. But
Janley, the girl, Janley.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah.
She was a bit of a revelation. Because she started off, you think she's just this, like...
You thought she was nice.
Nice, sort of secretary type scientist, and then she's leading the revolution, and she goes right up there, and like as it goes on. What was it? And I wrote down it was Janley and someone else were having a bit of a thing, weren't they?
I like Quim's hair on the animation.
Yeah, you said about Quim's hair.
It's just like, I mean, it's obviously supposed to be blonde, but it just looks like weird streaks. It made me laugh.
And then you had the guy that took over, like the baddie guy.
Yeah, I didn't.
That took over. He was a good baddie though.
Yeah, he was
not too over the top.
No, he was good. He from the start. You had that sort of inkling of him not being, and all the way through, he sort of carried that. And then the guy that, like, at the end, revolted against being a Volta. I can't think of the
Rebellion.
Rebellion.
Yeah, the rebels.
He rebelled against the rebels.
So you got the murder mystery, you got this sort of rebellion thing going on as well.
Yeah.
So this is the first time that I've really understood all the parts of the story.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed it.
I understood it the whole way through, actually.
That's great.
Yeah, no, because normally I'll be
sometimes I have to explain a bit.
Yeah. No, I followed it really well, and I really enjoyed it.
And the Daleks in the factory bit.
Oh, that was great.
I mean, in the animation, it's probably a little bit more
But why not?
extra than the actual thing. And you see the blobby Dalek thing creature,
Yeah.
and that's the first time you properly see that.
Yeah.
Very memorable. Yeah,
No, I thought
so
it was
good.
great. I thought
So
it was
good.
great. But it's you mentioned the telephones were annoying you.
Laboratory. Yes.
Well, we noticed. I'm going to have to go back on the telesnaps and see because you've got all this. The design is really great.
Yeah.
It's 1960s again, a space colony, but the telephones are your normal wired telephones, and every time they're on the phone, they pick it up, and it's like it's not a space telephone.
No.
They had space telephones in the 10th Planet,
Yeah.
no problem there, but here they just have your cord
Yeah.
sort
I
of
love that, like,
70s,
even in the
60s,
60s, we
70s,
still
yeah.
believe that we'll always have cords.
phones.
Yeah.
They all had that. Yeah, that was a funny
We'll
thing, the
always be
telephone.
stuck to the table. Yeah.
Yeah, but they had video. They had video conferencing things, but
Yeah.
then their telephones were just the
Yeah.
the
Isn't it
normal
weird?
things. I was just going to look up actually in this story. It's credit that it works so well because actually Patrick Troughton is working out how to play the Doctor,
Yeah. You can tell a little bit.
and he's
'Cause he changes
he's
quite a
the
bit
one
each
coming into the
episode.
show. Yeah, and I think they've done it really well. And he obviously we talked about Anneke Wills and Michael Crichton maybe not getting on with William Hartnell as much. So I think it might be easier for them. And I've got Anneke Wills' book here.
Oh, there we are.
So, well, she's done two, actually. So I got this. I'll just tell you the story. I've got this.
Two.
So do you remember, actually, before the Doctor Who experience down at the Bay, there was a Doctor Who exhibition that was in the Red Dragon Centre
Oh, it does ring a bell.
way back. So when I first moved to Cardiff, I used to go there all the time. It was much
course.
smaller little exhibition, mainly from the first couple of new series.
Yeah.
Tiny place, and it had a really nice,
Whereabouts
it had a really
was
good
it?
shop. You know, where next to the Dragon FM or what, Radio
Oh, yeah,
Cardiff
that
FM
bit.
or whatever it is next to it. It was really small,
Yeah.
but they had some good exhibits there, and they had a good shop. So whenever I was bored, sometimes I'd just go down just to go to the shop because you didn't have to pay to go in. You
Yeah.
could just go to the shop. So I went down, and there was Anneke Wills' book. I was like, oh yeah, I'll get that. I'll give that. Really, really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it so much that I went to a signing
Of course.
in Shepton Mallet,
Oh, my
which is in the
Mark.
middle of nowhere.
Yeah, sounds it.
So you go past Bath. It doesn't even have its own train station. You get to a certain point, and then it's like I had to get a taxi. It was like £25 to go to this village in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
To this convention. There was quite a few people there actually,
Yeah.
and I went especially to see Anneke Wills.
Oh,
right?
Mark.
And
This
it's
was
in the
years
front of the
ago.
book. Well, hang on, 2009. This was.
This is way before you started doing the convention stuff.
Yeah,
all-
so, yeah. This is like a rare time to go, and it had Love Anneke at when I bought it. It had that there, and it looks like it's handwritten. I thought, there was piles of these books. I thought, when they sometimes just print it and it looks like handwritten.
Yeah.
Fine. Anyway, so there I queue up to see Anneke Wills. This is the first time I've met her. And I was like, oh, I really liked your book. And I had loads of things I wanted to say that I didn't say. And then she was like, oh, I've already signed it. I was like, have you? And she was like, yeah, look. I was like, oh, I thought that was just printed. Like, I just bought a signed copy already. Anyway, so she put 4 mark and the date, and she was like, I don't know, she just looked really annoyed.
So funny.
I just thought they all had that printed in.
That was so funny. Of course you bought one that was already signed.
Anyway, she signed my War Machines DVD and a photo as well.
Oh, that's so funny.
But
That's
she was
so
just
you.
the way she was just like, I've already signed it. I was like, oh well. And then anyway, she put my name and everything and the date. But she also said,
She seems a bitch.
I know she's not. I know I make her sound like a bitch.
No, you don't. Because she seemed a bitch in that interview thing that we watched.
She's a bit like that. But also, when I was going away, she was like, "Oh, be careful. I think you've got this this book a bit wet somewhere." And she said it in a really dirty way, which I took as a really dirty... And I was like, I don't think so.
Oh, my God.
She just said something about it being wet, and I was like, oh. Which, I don't know what went through my mind, but it was really weird. Anyway, that was the first time I met Anneke Wills. But it's a really good book, and it goes through when they're doing Power of the Daleks, and they're helping Patrick Troughton quite a lot with the character and the ideas and everything. And actually, I was going to read a bit. I won't read a bit.
Do you want me to read it? I've not read it before, but I could read it.
Maybe just read a little bit.
Sound like a pompous arsehole reading it.
She is really nice. I don't know why. It just maybe I just met her on a funny time.
Like, she did in that interview to me as well. I'm just seeing what I say, all right? That's what you get me here to do.
She also does artwork, and she actually drew some pictures, and she had them on
display
for sale.
Oh.
Her own artwork of Patrick Troughton and herself and Michael Craig.
She has come out a lot better there than he has. Bloody hell.
She does them in pastel.
Sums her up.
So Sarah's now going to read a little bit from Anneke Wills' book.
I've not read this before, so... It's very rewarding working with Pat. He's a consummate professional who we can learn so much from, and he is such a clown and totally endearing. He asks Mike and me our opinions on ways of playing the role. His son Michael remembers how much he trusted our input, which, at the time, we took for granted, but now seems an honour. It was Pat's honesty that made him so endearing. At first, he isn't too sure how far to go with his portrayal. We talk about Chaplin, and I'm thrilled to find out he also loves Gurney Slade and the Goons, of course. He's trying out his new costume, which is checked baggy trousers, an old dress coat, a shirt that is too big, and a ghastly curly Harpo Marx wig. We all hate the wig, and he looks crestfallen. Why not just comb your hair like this, I say? And I comb it into his trademark Beatles look. Of course she does. That's good, the producers agree. The new Doctor plays a recorder, and Pat needs a haunting tune. I sing him the Irish lullaby that I sing to my children. It becomes his theme tune.
Well, there we go. So Anneke Wills has a lot to do with the new Doctor then.
How could we know then what we would become a part of cultural immortality?
You really don't like it now, do you? But at this convention, so that was before I really did the photos and all of that, like you said.
Yeah.
I've got a few photos that I did on my little digital camera, back then. This was before iPhones, I think. No, 2009, maybe before I had an iPhone.
Yeah.
And they had, which I regret now not getting the photo, they had a group shot of all of the Second Doctor companions. They were all there. And they had, instead of obviously Ben, they had his real life son. Who was 1920 at the time. He used to go around and do conventions for a bit, his son.
So, because he died quite young,
he
did
died,
the actor?
He was the only one at the time that had died. Otherwise, you could have had your whole group shot with all of the other companions coming up that the Second Doctor have, and I really wish I had that. But it just wasn't a thing at the time. It wasn't a thing. I just got my
She's a cruel mistress at that time, isn't she? Looking back.
But it's a great book. It's a great book, and she's got a second volume as well. So there, I don't know. You just don't like her from that documentary. I know what you mean. She's not a bitch. She's not a bitch. She just sometimes sounds like it.
I've yet to be convinced.
But Polly's great.
Yeah.
I'm still enjoying these companions, actually.
Do you know what, though? In a way, watching these interviews and stuff is almost ruining Polly a little bit for me.
Okay, maybe we should steer clear from the behind-the-scenes extras.
Because it almost makes me feel like Polly is this really pompous...
She doesn't play it like that.
She doesn't, no, but now I've got this sort of thing in my head about it, because she always seems it.
Yeah, okay.
Like, of course she's absolutely fine that this is the Doctor and has no qualms about it or, like, concerns or queries. She's just like, yeah, of course. I believe that. I go off that, like...
I think part of it, they're, in terms of the behind the scenes, they're just relieved that William Hartnell's gone. And they've got someone new and fun, and she's helping. They're like, yeah, this is really exciting.
Yeah.
I think that comes across on screen, actually. Those scenes with the Dr. Ben and Polly, I really enjoyed that, especially the fruit scene.
Yes.
Or where they're sitting in that little cell or whatever, and the Ben still got his humour.
Yeah,
a few
absolutely.
jokes. We laughed at a few of his comments, didn't we?
Look, I like Ben. I like Polly.
I like all of the humour's gone up now, because this Doctor isn't going to be like a Doctor, I don't think, that's going to have a go at anyone.
No. He might just not say anything.
I think he's going to be as humorous as the others, I think.
Yeah. How was he received then when this episode came out?
Well, I think people got used to it, but this is another interesting thing. A lot of people say that, okay, yeah, William Hartnell created the role,
Yeah.
and he created this whole thing, and it's gone on and on and on, but everyone says, actually, it's Patrick Troughton that kept the thing going, because if it didn't work with that changeover,
Yeah.
the others wouldn't have happened.
Yeah,
It's
completely.
actually him doing this now made the show carry on and on and on, because he proved that it could.
Yeah. Yeah.
So in some ways that's more important than even William Hartnell starting the whole thing off in the first place.
Oh, yeah, completely.
So I think nobody has a bad word to say about the second Doctor, I don't think. It's another one where it's classic, and everybody, for that reason, everybody loves him. They don't hate the character. He's an all-time great, I think.
Oh, that's interesting. So generally people don't say, like,
Don't
he
have
wasn't
negative.
great.
No, I don't think so. No.
You've not heard that?
No,
That's
I've never heard that.
I'm just saying that because, like, me watching it, I was a bit like,
It's the same with the first Doctor, Ian and Barbara. Everyone loves that. Okay, yeah, let's just forget about Susan a minute. But the first Doctor, Ian and Barbara, in the first series, I don't think any fans have a problem with that.
No.
It's the same, I think, with Patrick Troughton as the Doctor.
Yeah.
Let's just see how it goes. He is still finding his feet as the character, though.
Yeah.
So let's just see, a bit like William Hartnell at the beginning.
Yeah.
He toned down a little bit, didn't he? And then it takes a couple of stories, doesn't it, to find the feet.
Yeah, you don't come in like a fully fleshed.
And it's really strange because William Hartnell's been the constant all this time. And people have come in and out of his sort of sphere.
But actually,
and now he's
it doesn't
coming
seem
in.
weird in another way because we didn't get that much Doctor action anyway.
Well, no, that's the thing. We're like, oh, actually, we have a Doctor now in Doctor Who.
Yeah. So...
And we enjoyed the Daleks, so that's really good.
Yeah.
That's really good. And yeah, 6 parts. It didn't drag at all.
No, it didn't.
Really didn't.
We enjoyed it.
When it finished at number 4, I was like, I can't wait till tomorrow so we can finish and carry on watching.
Well, we did.
And we did.
And then I was ill. But no, I think I think it'll be interesting. We'll see. That's all I've got to say on it. I can't remember what the next story is.
I haven't told you what it's called, actually.
Ooh.
Shall I tell you what it's called?
Yeah, go for it.
So it's called The Highlanders.
Oh, sounds Scottish.
Yeah. But it's all missing. 4 episodes, it's all missing.
Okay.
We're still, season 4 is... There's a lot more animations, actually. There's so many missing, though. So actually, we're not really going to see our new Doctor on film for a little while, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And maybe that will change your view, because it's so interesting that you've not seen any of this Doctor.
Yeah.
Like, oh, sorry, I'm like, I don't know why I'm
Mark's
like
just pointing at
I don't know
it.
if you can see, I'm getting my arms are waving a little bit here.
It's like, interesting that you have not seen.
You're the only person that hasn't seen any Patrick Troughton. You! I didn't mean it like that.
You're right.
And I haven't actually shown you, there's a few little clips that exist from Power of the Daleks. I haven't shown you any of that.
No.
It's all pure animation. So they've not got round to doing the Highlanders yet, so unfortunately.
No, that's fine. And also, actually, this is because I struggled with the first one, The Reign of Terror. I really struggled with that.
Well, I thought you were going to ask to do the telesnaps. I do give you the choice.
Yeah, you do. And I was like, no, let's do full animation while we have the opportunity, because otherwise we're just... But I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it.
And the Daleks are great to be animated. It must be so easy to do for them. They look so good.
Well, they move in the way that...
Exactly,
the humans shouldn't, but like Daleks move that way. Yeah. No, I really enjoyed it. And like I say, it was a Dalek story that I enjoyed, would you believe?
There we go, everyone. You heard it here first.
Sarah actually enjoyed the Dalek story. How do you feel, Mark? How do you feel, Mark?
No, I feel great. I feel like I know this story very well now, and I'm glad that... Because actually, sometimes when we sit down and watch it, that's actually forcing me to sit down and watch some of these stories that I wouldn't normally choose.
Yeah.
And to analyse them a bit more than I normally would.
Yeah.
So I'm all about Lesterson and Janley now. I know.
I liked the guy. What was the name of the guy that was a rebel and then realised it was bad?
Oh, what was his name?
And he was laying the traps, wasn't he?
Because he was like a sort of background character to begin with, and then suddenly in the last few episodes, he became like a main one, didn't he? And I was like, oh, where did he come from?
He was the one that was laying the traps.
I think he begins with V. Let me just have a look.
Yeah.
Valmar.
That's it. I enjoyed Valmar. He was my favourite side character.
He was alright.
He had a great journey. He went from like little side character nothing, just told to like live trucks, was in love with what's her name?
Janley.
That's how I remember that. In love with Janley. And then
have we just invented this love for Janley between...
No, one of the other guys
Valmar
says
and Janley.
it.
We always add these love stories
one of the guys says it he says
Oh, yes, he does, doesn't he?
Yeah,
There is a
I'm not just
mention
making that up. Because then when that's how he's like...
Janley. Janley. Don't take my Dalek away. No, that was not even... No, I'm going to cut that out.
Please don't take my...
Dalek
away. It wouldn't be no, he's a boat.
Janley.
No, it's so he has that, and then he realizes actually she wasn't great, and she betrays them.
She ended up as a bit of a super bitch at the end.
And then she's like, no, I wasn't going to do that. And so then they're back on side, but he's turns against the whole rebellion thing anyway, and ends up helping rebuild the whatever it is, the Vulcan, the colony.
The colony, yeah.
The Vulcan.
The Vulcan.
The colony. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, Janley. We'll remember her for a Doska. Or Valmar.
Valmar. I want to remember Valmar for a Doska.
Okay. Cool. Okay, well, we'll see what happens in the Highlanders then.
Yeah.
Where it's set, modern future, or wherever. So you can follow us on Twitter and Facebook, To Watch Who, and on YouTube as well, if that's where you're listening. And for podcast fans, I was a guest on the Lost on Gallifrey podcast this week. My Doctor Who knowledge was stretched to the limit, I think, on their randomizer episode, so you should definitely go and check that out. You can find them on Twitter, Doctor_podcast. And next week, actually, our episode lands on Christmas Day, so we've got a very special Christmas episode where we're watching the very first Peter Cushing film in the Christmas spirit of things. So we will see you then for that. Bye.
Bye.
To Watch Who.
Dr. Van Veer, at your service.
Doctor Who?